As the French say, lovely parting gift. Twice a day, morning and evening. Keep it dry in between, okay? And if they come back, I want you to call me.
Yeah.
And try to relax. Because once you start feeling overwhelmed...
That's what it is. That's exactly what I've been feeling. I just feel so overwhelmed.
Aren't we all, Mr. Rollins? Aren't we all?
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Yep, I shouldn't touch you.
No.
Okay.
I remember the exact day I had the idea to write this movie. In 2015, the entirety of 2015, I lived in Los Angeles. I'm a New Yorker. In November of 2015, I had hives on my arm, and I had no clue where they were from, so naturally I went to a dermatologist. The dermatologist was kind of an interesting guy. A, he smelled like weed, like blatantly smelled like weed. And then B, he started talking to me kind of like a therapist would a patient, because he told me that he looked at them and he said that he thought they were stress hives. And then he asked if I had been stressed. I was, profoundly so, because 2015 was a rough year for me. I pitched TV projects, didn't sell. I was up for staff writing gigs and TV shows, did not get them. It was just, things weren't working. And we kind of had a nice conversation about it. And then he told me that he thought they were stress hives because of his own daughter who recently went through a divorce and she had similar looking hives. And then I left after half an hour and I never saw the guy again. I don't even remember his name, to be quite honest with you. I moved home about a week later and I thought to myself, what if those two characters, a character based on myself and a character based on this nameless dermatologist that I can't remember, and the daughter that he referenced, formed a relationship. So I pretty much immediately started writing the script when I got home, back to Long Island. Because I also came home kind of full of piss and vinegar after having not succeeded in LA. So I was gonna succeed in New York and I was gonna do it by writing this movie. So thank God it's getting made.
I read a lot of scripts. And what you want from a script, whether I'm producing it or directing it, is one where I don't want to wait till the next morning to call because I can't let it get away. And there have been very few scripts that I felt that way about. And Peter's script was one that I read, and the minute I read it, I knew that I had to be involved in this film.
You know, they say people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, but I think people in any type of house shouldn't throw a stone. I mean, I'm not even worried about like the glass windows or anything. People, why are you throwing stones at people? Where are you even getting these stones?
I set out to write a comedy and it morphed into something else.
There's big comedic tones in it, but the skeleton of it is a drama where these two very flawed characters struggling until they find each other and then they kind of thrive a little bit.
How old are you?
Why?
You're way too young to be this defeated. Tony, 2 Jaeger bombs, please.
Jaeger bombs?
Oh, yes.
How old are you?
65, thank you very much.
People often ask me if it's a dramedy, is it a comedy with drama, is it a drama with comedy? And my answer is always that I think it's a comedy and a drama, because for me, life is comedy, life is drama, often at the exact same moment.
I'm just trying to help her. I'm not playing grab ass or anything.
Originally, this was gonna be a dark comedy about a failing comedian who has to move home and just be with his family. But as I kind of delved into the fall from grace, it kind of got sad.
Well, I actually loved it for the first year or so. I mean, I was getting up a bunch, I was writing, things were clicking, and then, I don't know, man, things got harder and harder, and I got poorer and poorer.
You broke too?
No. I just thought it'd be really fun to move back in with Gary and Janine.
In your 30s, you start kind of asking questions for the first time. One of those being, is it too late?
You kind of feel lost. You don't know what you're supposed to be doing. You think you should have your life figured out by now. And he's seeing everybody else married or having kids or all those things. And he looks at himself and he thinks that he's just screwed up his life. And it's not there.
The more I delved into that, the more this turned into a drama at points, because there's nothing that funny about that.
I know I shouldn't be starting in open mics again, but if I want to get paid for stand-up...
Come on. Enough of this Fantasyland bullshit.
Like this character asks himself for the first time, should I be doing this? Is it too late to get back with the girl that I maybe should have wound up with?
And he looks towards Billy's character, and Billy has had those things. He has had 2 wives and has had kids and all those things. And he looks just as lost. And so the idea of connecting those tissues, I love that.
People get lost in their lives, and both of them are. But also, hopefully in your life, somebody comes along or something comes along that you can, you know, as you're being swept down the river, you can grab onto and hold on and tread water for a while.
You know, there's still hope for Marty, but at the same time, he knows he's way further down the block than Scott is. So he can pass his knowledge on to someone like Scott, who's young enough to really get his ducks in a row and get his life back on track, where maybe he doesn't have the opportunity to do that.
She said, he's the one. All right, that's cool, I get that. But is she the one for you?
I mean, maybe. It doesn't mean she's not the right one for me, right?
All I'm trying to say is, lightning rarely strikes twice. But if you keep your eyes open and you're not a little stubborn shit, it can strike again.
Wow, what does that mean, drunk Yoda?
Part of what drew me to this film was its exploration of regret. It's certainly something that I struggle with. I'm a professional at beating myself up, but it's something that I think people struggle with across demographics. There's this sort of existential, I'm in my 30s, I'm supposed to be an adult, what now? And then I think there's obviously regret as you get older and you look back on a life lived, hopefully well lived, but the choices you made and the choices you didn't.
Happiness fades, okay? And sadness dulls over time. It just does every time. But regret, that shit is real, man. That shit lingers.
One element of the film that I hope will resonate is the idea that life is messy. I think often in movies we see a sort of sterilized, sanitized version of life. And in multiple ways, this film is messy. Both the relationship arc that you see between Becky and Scott in Marty's life, in Marty's quest for redemption, these don't have tidy ends. And I'm very grateful that there's not a studio on this. So we get to tell a story that's not clean.
No man wants the woman he loves to have a one that got away. I know that we used to be friends and this is a small town, but I truly hope I never see you again.
There are certainly a whole bunch of autobiographical elements to this story. I am not a stand-up comedian. I've never performed, but I was and am a comedy writer who failed in Los Angeles and moved home to Long Island. I'm from Long Island. A lot of my hometown is represented in this film, which is very important to me.
At first, I wasn't actually sure we were going to shoot in New York. I was thinking about some alternative locations for budgetary reasons and other reasons.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, we just couldn't escape the fact that this movie is a New York story and should be told that way.
I love it, truly love it, because every morning you make that commute, you're on a bridge, you see your city and stuff like that. It's awesome.
The city's incredibly diverse. There are so many different neighborhoods. You get incredible actors because a lot of them have theater backgrounds. They come to day play. It's very alive. The place is really alive.
I base everything in New York because I don't want to leave New York. I really have a deep love of New York. So for this to be shot anywhere else would kind of break my heart.
Scouting in Long Beach has been fascinating because, according to the residents of Long Beach, I think Billy Crystal must have 50 uncles, because every single person we talk to says that they grew up right next to Billy Crystal's uncle.
Peter, who wrote it, lived in my hometown. And he really created this character, for me.
I lived in a house for 10 years, or houses that were very, very close to where Billy grew up.
So like Long Island to him, he is from Long Island, and from aspects of the places that we're filming in, like we'll pass by some place and be like, oh, I had my bar mitzvah there. I'm like, this is it's insane.
That was like amazing. So I can plug in, I know the sounds, I know the people, I know how they feel, I know how they react to things, and so to me that was great.
To be able to have him in this movie and have it based in Long Beach at points it means more to me than he knows.
And I would have done this earlier, but I didn't have anybody to do it with me. And the thought of an old man out on the beach spreading ashes around just seems so
Sad, yeah.
I was gonna say cliche, but sad is not inaccurate.
Through shooting and scouting, getting to know the specificity of Long Island and trying hopefully to infuse some of that, I think it's really kind of added to the DNA of the film.
This film absolutely, in my eyes, captures the spirit of Long Island. Little things like the bar that we're shooting in. It's Marty's hometown bar. It so feels like any Long Island dive bar in any Long Island town, and they captured it so well. Even the people that we've kind of peppered in the back as extras, they look like guys who, if they were not there as extras, might be there drinking in those bars anyway.
We found this little restaurant that we never would have thought of shooting there had we not seen it. And suddenly it became the pizza parlor that Billy goes into the morning of his hangover.
We shot in Rockaway Beach, the boardwalk. It's an iconic boardwalk. It was a beautiful day. For that to be shot anywhere but the actual Long Island boardwalk just would have been a crime, and we did not commit that crime.
We've certainly done research. We're trying to make wardrobe as authentic as possible. We've bought some clothes from stores in Long Island as opposed to stores in Manhattan.
Give me 2 regular, nice and hot, crushed red on the side.
All right.
And a Thorazine smoothie.
Yeah, the usual.
I hope that people take away from this film the same thing that I took away when I read it the first time. I truly fell in love with these 2 characters, and I felt for them, and I really enjoyed watching their story from beginning to end, and I feel that at the end of this movie, you hope that these characters are in a better place no matter where they end up.
This film is ultimately about redemption. Whether you're 35 or 65 or 18 or 80, if you're at a low in your life, you could find a way to flip it. And these characters, each in their own individual way, found a way to flip it. And if nothing else, I would love people to take that away from this film.